Hello, and welcome to the third part of the Academy's 1:48 scale P-40N build. In this video, I will assemble the model together, adjust fitting problems, glue more metal parts, and prepare the model for the paint job. Let's start with the cockpit. First, I glue the instrument panel and the side panels. Both side panels have a straight shape. Parts of the fuselage are slightly rounded and the side panels will hold worse. That's why I have to use superglue. Gluing the engine cooler was tricky. There is a small mark on the fuselage where the part should be installed, but the engine cooler part does not hold in place. I had to hold it with my finger. Before I glued the cockpit tab, I had to glue both fuselage parts together. Gluing the cockpit tab was a struggle. It didn't fit the marks for the installation. I didn't mention that this Academy kit is a rebox of the Mauvais kit from the 1990s, so it's an old kit. So the parts don't quite fit. But once I've put an effort and upgraded with metal parts, I won't give up. I like a good challenge. Next, I glue the horizontal stabilizers and paint the instrument panel color. There is another fit problem. Since I upgraded the model with metal V-wells, the lower belly part does not fit. I must remove some plastic from the cockpit tab. For this work step, I use a cotton disc and a grinding tool. I progress slowly and dry fit the belly part a few times. There is still some grinding to do. I mark the area with a pencil and continue. Now that's more like it. It finally fits. I almost forgot to create plastic rods for the landing flaps. I simply create them like this. Place the plastic stick about a candle and let it catch fire. Blow the fire out and stretch the plastic stick when it's still hot. This way you can create sticks from different diameters. Now I can glue the belly part and the upper wings together. Next, I glued the metal landing flaps with superglue. There were also some fit issues, but with some cutting and sanding I managed to get a good result. Looks like the metal flaps are much wider than the plastic ones. No problem, I will fit it up with putty. Next, I glue the propeller and the exhausts. I chose to glue the exhaust now. The reason is because I don't want to destroy the paint job by etching the surface. Now I glued additional fuel tank and the engine cooler cowling. Before I glue the clear parts to the fuselage, I must paint them from the inner side. That's why I masked them with masking tape and a liquid mask from Jimenez. I cut the masking tape into narrow strips at least 2 mm wide. I applied the tape with a hobby knife exactly to the edge and slowly press it to the part. Then I cut the tape with a sharp hobby knife. When it's done, I apply a liquid mask to all parts. The color must have the same mix ratio as the cockpit one. I use a mix of 70% Mr. Color C27 interior green and 30% of C122 light green. Removing the masking is easy. You just need to be careful not to scratch the clear part with a hobby knife. This is how I glue the clear parts to the fuselage. I gently put the clear part into place and glue it with a thin amount of Mr. Cement glue. Be careful not to apply too much glue. It can easily etch the clear part. Alright, the next step is filling all gaps and imperfections with putty. I like to thin down the putty a little bit with thinner. A thin putty is better to work with. I will show you two ways how to do it. The first way is good to apply on tiny gaps. You don't need to let the putty dry. Apply the thin down putty with an old thin paintbrush and let it dry at least for 10 minutes. When the putty is still fresh, you can easily remove it with a cotton bud soaked in thinner. The second method is to apply the putty on bigger gaps and let it properly dry for 5 hours. Then you can sand out the putty under water with a smooth sandpaper. Next, I mask the clear part with masking tape and liquid mask. This work step is the same as before. Practice is practice. The open cockpit canopy is closed with a wider masking tape. I cut a similar wide piece of the tape and gently press it to the cabin frame. If small gaps appear, this problem can be solved with a liquid mask. Next, I work on drilling holes for the 50 caliber machine guns, glue more antennas and more metal parts. At the end, I paint the landing light frame with a silver paint, glue the clear part with PVA glue, and mask it with liquid mask. And there is a tiny metal gun sight in front of the cockpit frame. In the next part of the P-40N build, I will paint the model, add decals, weathering, pigments, and assemble the model together. Until then, stay awesome and see you next time.